Hello and welcome back to another episode of Supercoach Insider. My name is Ben and thank you for joining me. It is just before the team's announcement. I want to get on a little bit quickly and talk about my team, how I'm progressing, and maybe shoot through a couple of those questions real quick as well as far as my thoughts leading into this round. So before I move on, SC Insider 100, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok, all the audio platforms as well. Please do like and continue to support us. Now, I scored 2275 in the week just gone. I am ranked 84th overall. So I was about, 300 and something for the last couple of weeks. I've been hovering around a little bit. Let me just bring up my team. And I want to explain a couple of the decisions that I've sort of made coming in. So when we looked at this preseason, and I wish I could make that bigger for you guys. Let me just see if that'll work. Yeah, that looks better. So coming in, I always wanted to be quite aggressive with the rounds, particularly through this middle phase. I really wanted to be aggressive and upgrade. So I am trying to get as many points on field as I can. It's worked out well having, so it was at Murph Reed from Fremantle and also Sam Powell Pepper. So the week just gone, I did trade out, I got rid of, Davidson, mainly because I had Sam Powell Pepper on the bench the week before. And look, he's gone well. He's kind of reset his cash down a little bit, but I wanted to kind of get Sam Powell Pepper on field and I wanted to make an upgrade. Or I wanted to bank cash. So I kind of got stuck a little bit last week, and it's almost the same as this week. Thursday night footy, when you're trying to upgrade and you're trying to bring in rookies, sometimes things happen. I wanted Dacos or Merritt. I was probably going to I was considering trying to go Murph and Marich to Dacos this week. However, Dacos performed so well, I ended up 6K short of actually doing that. And I'm not sure if I want to use a boost to kind of make it work. So what I did do is I was going to triple downgrade. I brought in Long, which I'm happy with. And I went Henderson, I think, to Long. I moved out Davidson and I upgraded someone as well last week. So it did work out to be, and Davidson, was the other one. So it worked out pretty well. So I got Long in, I got in Cleary, but I put him on the bench. So that allowed Sam Powell Pepper to come on field, which is awesome. So that's 76 points. And, but I was going to go Gross from West Coast, except when he was sub, man, if I had the choice, I wanted Dacos, right? And once he went big, I was like, my life sucks. There's no Dacos. My team sucks. I was like joking around saying I'm going to go from 300th to 5,000th because he was 50% owned or something in the top players. And I'm like, man, this sucks, right? So, and I wanted him, but if I knew that Gross was going to be sub, then I could have brought in a premium on a Thursday or Friday night. I heard there might have been mumblings. However, if he was playing, I wanted him in my side, so I was going to bank a lot of cash. So that's the negative, right? So I kind of went a little bit points chasing at that point because I had a boost option up my sleeve and I decided I had cash. I was chasing Dacos points to try and stay relevant and try and keep my ranking up. So I actually upgraded Humphrey to Merritt. Now, I made Merritt captain, which sucked because he pretty much did nothing and just kind of chipped away. Was lucky he got 100. Not going to lie, I hated watching Essendon play over there and it didn't do me well. But look, he scored 106, so that was okay. I mean, I was going to make Brayshaw captain, so I did lose slightly on that. However, what did he get me? Like an extra 50, 60 points on Humphrey. So I can't be too upset that 50 or 60 points of Humphrey to Merritt was probably 50 points, let's say, was kind of the difference between having a Merritt and a Dacos. So I think it kind of did bridge the gap a little bit last week, and I had Trainer on field. So that kind of fills you in a little bit. I did trade out Rosie a couple of weeks ago after his 260s, and then they put him at half back, and I was like, why? Why do you do this to me? And now I'm stuck in this position because of Dacos for the non-owners. It's painful. And I've been telling myself it's a must-have, but the longer it goes on, the more I'm not as sure. There are a couple of tricky things. So if anyone heard my thoughts as well, I caught up with I'm trying to think of what the platform was now. So, but Supercoach DR, and obviously a few of the other content creators on the Sunday night. So that was good fun. But I'm actually probably looking at holding Trainer at this point. So I know a few people, it's probably the biggest one. I'm not sold on Carroll. Now, the reason being is, yeah, Carroll's done all right, and I think he might actually get named this week. So it won't surprise me if he is named. However, um, I don't know if he has that much security going forward. So, there are some other people in the mix that are coming back into that side, and I've got a complete mind blank here. Um, yeah, so I mean, it's like Cowan's a test, so I think he comes straight back in. So Carroll could easily be, if he plays this week, he could be just out and gone. I know a lot of people trading Trainer out. So, hey, Brunswick, shout out to Brunswick. Appreciate you, legend. So yeah, like Chris is all on the trade out Trainer train, right? And Swizz is hitting me up talking about, getting out Zach Reed. And when you look at the break evens, yes, it makes sense. If you have cash and you are happy to put Carroll on the bench, and if he sits there and gets dropped and you're happy to just sit there with the cash, then sure, that could be fine, right? If you need the cash play, that would be fine. However, I am, again, in the position I'm in. I'm trying to go points on field. I think Trainer can get me 70s and 80s at least for a couple of weeks and probably stabilize in his price. And then I can look to move him on. He might have some more cash in me. It is a slower burn, but there's no real rookies unless, Bustlinger comes through and it looks like he's named and he might take that spot. Or if, Bo Allen comes on the scene, they'll be like, great, thank you so much. Or another rookie pops up, but there's nothing really happening, which means that Flynn is a big option this week and he's heavily traded in. Traded in by 31,000 already in chasing. So that's going to be a big one. And Carroll's 44. So look, I'm not completely sold on Carroll. And again, it depends on teams that are announced in about 8 minutes. So I'm waiting to see what's happening, waiting to see what's on my side. I'm a little bit upset that I didn't go someone cheaper instead of Zach Merritt, because if I had cash, man, I could do some things this week, but I can't be upset with the extra premium and someone who is very durable. So, but yeah, back to the Trainer. Now, D's leak points in defense. Trainer, I'm assuming he's listed on field. I'm assuming he won't be sub. So I think he's going to at least score fairly well. Reed on a 38. He's dropped a couple of stinkers, and Trainer's not really dropping stinkers. He just got subbed, right? Managed off a few short turnarounds. So I have a little bit of faith in it to at least see the week and see what's happening with that. If it's raining tomorrow, like it looks like on Anzac Day, if they're dump kicking the ball forward, I don't see Essendon kind of using Reed in that. Sometimes they would kick it backwards to him to kind of switch the play or free it up and try and play a little chip kick sort of marking game. I don't know if they're going to do that as much in the wet, and I don't know if he's going to get the marks as much in the wet either. So I am concerned with him. There is every realm that I actually just, if Trainer doesn't go well, I might just keep Reed and play him. If Trainer does go well, I might just then throw Patton into my defensive line and just leave, Reed on field. On the bench, and just let him maybe do well. I mean, if he pumps out a 70 or 80, then all of a sudden I'm looking good and I'm still making that cash. So there is a world I might hold them. Reed is one for me in Fremantle. He's doing well. He scored an 80. His break even's like 45. I don't know how much further he can go in his role. So he's someone I'm looking to cut early. Now, I'm not always about cutting rookies early. So if you're playing the long game and you're trying to build your team for leagues and you're building that cash, then yes. But if you're going for overall, sometimes you have to cut these rookies a little thin and get more points on field. So that's the kind of train of thought that I'm thinking of. Hey, trainer thought. Yeah, so now the big situation I'm going to have, and some of you will have as well, and I'll jump into some questions shortly before team's up. I've been sucking at captains, hey, like 2 50-50s. I reckon I'd be top 10 if I didn't butcher these calls, because I had Whitfield as captain a couple weeks ago. So it would have been 3 weeks ago. I changed it last minute after a few drinks. I think it was North Melbourne played after Cherry had that scare the week before. And I was like, hey, no one will be on Cherry as captain. Let's just make him captain. And he got like a 90. Whitfield went 150. It cost me like 53 points. And I was like, well, that sucks. And I'm like, but who cares? The next week I chose Sarong over Brayshaw. Again, I don't know why. Just another 50-50 call. That cost me, again, 50 points. So just from captains on those two, it cost me 100 points. So I think that 100 points would be literally me into around the top sort of maybe 10 or 20. I'm not sure, but it is a little bit upsetting. However, I haven't been this highly ranked this early, and I think it's mainly because I did go a few more of those mid prices. I have traded pretty aggressive to correct my side also. So if you followed my team, I mean, I did have Perryman, I did have Short. So I did use a few trades to correct, but it just meant that I had a little bit of data to try and jump on the right ship, hopefully. And I did choose some good rookies in like Sampa Pepper doing well with Long. I went Marich and I went Humphrey, and I'm glad I did because if I just went, I was going to just choose Humphrey. I wasn't sold on Marich, but there you go. Sometimes you just double down and you get lucky with that. But look, for me this week, it depends on teams because I'm hoping Stanley doesn't play, and I'm hoping they go the DeConing brothers head to head again. And if that happens, that would be awesome. If I Dacos, man, and that's going to be the big thing with this one. And let me know in the chat if you do have Dacos. But Brayshaw was so Ashcroft was killing me, and it happened even previous weeks where the first half the Lions were getting flogged. In the second half, though, when they got their game style where they were linking up, they were tackling, they were pressuring, he was pretty much going and linking up and getting the handballs in. My team at the moment hasn't had its trades done. I'm kind of waiting for teams to kind of, and I'll let you know my thoughts as far as what I am doing. But Ashcroft was on the, getting the handball receives. He was linking up his forward of center. When the Lions get their team shut down and they block off the corridor like Collingwood did and they go long down the line, he's not as useful and he wasn't winning the hard ball as much. He kind of was looking for the cheaper one or the link up play. So I feel like if Lions get their own way, Ashcroft can absolutely go huge and dominate. Whereas if they don't have it their own way, then he needs to up his contested game and the Lions need to play well. But I want to keep Ashcroft, and the reason is a couple of things. Number one, they play North and they play the Ds in the next 4 weeks. He also has the last buy, so I think he'll stabilize in price. He might drop 50K. And the other way that I'm thinking of it is from Ashcroft to Dacos, for those who have Ashcroft and don't have Dacos, for Will Ashcroft, they started the year 185K difference. They are now $85,000 different. And in 2 weeks' time, they could be back to $185,000 in difference. So if you told me at the start of the year, hey, start Will Ashcroft at 440 and you can pick up, Nick Dacos, Nick Dacos for 85K, you'd probably say, yeah, I'll do that. Which means I don't know why I'm second guessing it. It's just maybe the buy structure. I can go Oliver, who's only been pumping out 90s instead. So I am worried about Oliver just because he should do well the next 2 weeks, right? And he has to in order to stay in my side. And if he doesn't, then he's out. So realistically, Oliver should average you 110, 120 for the next couple of weeks. So it makes it hard to get rid of him, right? But I just think if the season goes on and it looks like they are going to probably trade out Clary, or if the coaches have it under pressure and the rest of it, they might change it up. They might get some of these young guys in there. So it's going to be really interesting. He's not really doing that much for me at the moment to stay in the side. So I think they have the second buy, which then means it's kind of a little bit easier. And I think we have about 6 weeks maybe until the buys start. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So maybe five rounds until the buys or something. I think buys start round 12 or so. So it's going to be interesting as far as, Chera has the first buy, but he's doing really well. So, that's the hard part. For me, I am targeting the ones I am looking at. So I don't have Sinclair. I don't have Zorko, and Zorko's 550K, I think, with a break even of 170. So I might get him in. We've also got, I don't have Rankin, and he's just short of 500K and possibly dropping. So I would like to get him as well. I'm probably going to pass on Petrarca just for now. And I spoke to Swizz earlier today. He should be going 100 easily, right? He's going 90 and he's doing his thing. But again, if you're not happy in a place, and this is subjective, it's complete speculation. I don't know anything, substantial and quantitative, but if the season goes on and they're not winning games, and if he isn't quite there, or he looks to be moving out, or the coach looks to be moving, or whatever, the Ds are quite fluid at this point in time, then how well can he go? And I like him, and he's at a good price, but also I would probably rather, A, Rankin, because I don't have him. B, I think Chad Warner next week could probably be a better option as well, because he'll be cheaper. So I don't know. Like I want to see a little bit more from Track, and I know I might have to watch a week to kind of see it, and if I'm happy, then I might move, but I don't really wanna move before I see it, which is unusual because normally you just kinda hit and hope with those kind of players. So, I will let me know when teams do drop, by the way, so I can then jump across. Um, yeah, whereas Chera has the first buy. He's been going like 110, 107, 106 and the rest of it, but I don't think I'm going to I can't move him on. So pretty much it's Reed, I'm happy to cut. Both Reeds, I'm happy to cut realistically. Leave Bice on field as long as I can. And I have spread myself a little bit wider. So the one I am looking at is Flynn. Just because if he plays for 2 weeks, he'll make 100K. He's people are bringing him in. People are dropping primos to bring him in, which is crazy. Teams are out. Sweet. Here we go. So let's check it out. Teams. Refresh. All right. So this will be interesting. So this will be a live look here. People dropped. I don't like all this stuff. Just give me the teams. All right. We know that one. So have they named sub yet? No, they'll name it in 9 minutes. All right. So Coxmore, Allen, that's fine. I knew that one already. Houston, Membry, Sullivan. Let's look at the center line. Steele, what are you doing in there, mate? Interchange. Dacos, Ned Long, named in the midfield. Booyah Shah. All right, we're good with that. Goldie, Rock, that makes sense. And I did hear that Saad Al Howie would be dropped, but interesting. So, yeah, can't be surprised. I think sub for a few rounds. They need to give him a full round in the footy, and Langford back for Essendon, which is good news. So, all right. I like that. I think Ned Long in the wet is also a good option. If people don't have him, he's already got a price, right? So it might be more of a gamble now. But in the wet, he should tackle. He should get a lot of those, knock the ball forward types, and I think he'll do really well. So I think he's at a good price on that one. So, yeah, I think everything's looking pretty good on there. I'll be really interested to see how they use Perryman. Maybe side bottom kind of goes in and out, depending to sort of fill those gaps. But that'll be the interesting one for me. Zaki Merritt, Durham, Caddy, Shield. Oh, and still no Sardis. So there you go. So those Sardis owners, man, must be a little bit upset. Oh, why is it not? I got to share this tab instead. Right, there we go. Sorry, boys. All right. So that's that team. Banfield, Quinton Narkle's in, so that'll be interesting. Chapman's back, so that's good. Wagner, Aish. All right. So I was interested, and I don't think he's come back in though. But Erasmus, let me know. But I was expecting maybe a Razzie Dazzy to come back in. Peeling with Shelley is back in. Berry and Fogarty, that makes sense. Nothing really happening with that side. I should probably look at the bench here. Not like it matters after Richmond bloody put trainer sub from on field. Probably O'Sullivan would probably be pies, I imagine. Maybe Menzie. I don't know from that one. It shouldn't be anything too interesting there. Dudley was the other week. Warner, Quinton Narkle could also be. So that'll be interesting. And you would imagine probably Sid Draper or Zach Taylor. Probably Sid. Maybe Sid Draper with some of those ins. Howard, Keel a name. Sean Makers and Henry are out. Marshall's out. Loman's in. Okay, so that makes sense. Now, I am a little bit worried. So I know a few people have been speaking up Tunstall. Now, I'm a little bit worried. I think Coleman's not too far away. I think, when Coleman or Starcevic is back in, he's gone. So that could be 1 to 2 weeks. It could be a little bit longer if there's any delays with, Coleman's knee. But it does make me worry because you look how strong that list is. There's not much room to move. And then you got Marshall trying to get his way in. There's a few others that are sort of just on the outskirts of that team as well. Levi Ashcroft was even sub and all on the borderline before some room opened up for him. So I am a little bit worried about that one. But emergency. So Boxall is still emergency. Boyd's still emergency. So there's nothing really happening there. Max Hall, Garcia, maybe Collard or Zach Jones, maybe sub, I imagine. And, Will, Levi, Coleman, Logan Morrison, Tunstall. There's a big, I reckon Tunstall could be sub. And they could easily throw, Wilmot in the back line with Ainsworth, with Fletcher. So I think they're covered. Tunstall could be sub. And it wouldn't surprise me, especially if Loman's coming in and Marshall was sub last week. I think Tunstall could actually be that guy. because it just means that everyone else can kind of push further back. So, your Baileys and stuff can push onto the wing a little bit more, and then Fletcher can push back in the defense, and then all of a sudden Tunstall's out. So I'd be really concerned on that one if I was one of those people. Atkins, so Cochrane injured. That's we heard that one. Richards, Finlayson, and Berry. So nothing untoward with that team. Zach Fisher injured, always injured. Griffin Lowe, Core. Okay, so nothing crazy out of that. Hardman, Archer. Man, where are all these? Parker's 300th. Wow, and Farrell's 100th. That'll be a good milestone game. Yeah, nothing out of that one. Logan Evans emergency. He butchered it early this year. Powell, who's on there? Sin, Berry, Darcy Burn-Jones, Finlayson, Drew. Oh, it's probably Berry or Sin. Sin had not a great game last week, so it wouldn't surprise me if they made Sin sub. Woodlaw, Dersma, Stevens, Hardman, Tom Powell. Probably Hardman or Stevens. I'd probably say Stevens more would be my inkling. Hogan in, Brown out, so that's good for the Stone owners. Going slow and steady to 200K. You'll be the only 10-game player to make you $70,000. So that's going to be interesting. O'Halloran, Riccardi. Riccardi was, I don't know why Riccardi shouldn't be sub this one. Stone, he's on the interchange. Ooh, he's making his way off the field, everyone. I don't know if I like it. Hopefully O'Halloran or one of those guys, maybe a sub. And Bustling is in. So this is the one I've been interested on. I don't like the fact it's come in for Liam Jones. I was hoping they'd put Lob into the forward line and to replace Darcy and then bring in Bustlinger. I do like and want to watch Bustlinger, mainly because he was an intercept defender. He was all skin and bones, though, like very skinny when he came in. He's still quite lean, but obviously he's put on a little bit of weight. But intercept defender with a high kick ratio and a really good use of foot, so a high disposal efficiency fight by a foot. And this is a couple of years ago in his draft year, so I am really interested in him as an option. So kind of think of like an O'Sullivan from Geelong, except a year older, and that's how I'd probably equate to him, like a Sicily sort of type, I imagine. So Darcy's out, McNeil's out, Jones is out. All right, Vandermeer, Harms. So again, not many young players except for the bus. So that's going to be interesting on that one. Harms, so maybe Cooper Hines, Dolan or someone maybe as a sub. I don't think Davidson will be. And I've already gone through that one. So Sunday teams. This is where the squads get larger. Humphrey named on ball. Good job, Humphrey. Just a bit too late, mate. Patton interchange. He's always been interchange. I think Bice will be fine. Sheldrick probably won't play. Cleary, I think, will probably be fine, although he had a pretty bad game, so they might even make him sub, which would suck because he didn't play that well. Patton, I don't think will play because they've spoke about bringing McCartan back into defense, which means that Patton's done for. No offense, I just don't think he does that unless they put him forward, which I doubt. So it's going to be interesting to see what those Sunday teams are. And Sheldrick seems to be everyone's on their shit list, so I don't think that happens. Closey, Moyle, Fiorini, again, just the large squads there. So Moyle, I don't think will play. It'll be Hewland, probably Ainsworth. He's really good. Rogers. I don't think Fiorini will be. Holman might be sub, or Closey might play, or Butterick might play. But nothing too crazy. Let me know if there is anything popping up in these chats that I'm missing as far as the team lists. Oh, now are they? Oh, it's again extended squad, so it's not going to say much. Harry in. Oh, Cowan and Doherty. Now, wonder this is going to be the interesting one. So we're going to have to wait until tomorrow to see what they're going to do with Cowan. So I don't like getting rid of Trainer tonight. If you have Trainer and you have Reed, I'd rather just wait until teams are announced. So I'd probably loop emergency Trainer, and then if Cowan plays, if Cowan plays, you can sort of leave Reed on field, or if you want to go down to Carroll, then Carroll's still been scoring pretty well anyway, so I don't mind that. Oh no, you're not going to know the teams. Oh no, teams are announced like 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, and the Anzac Day game will already start. So you're stuffed. Yeah, you're just stuffed. Yeah, so maybe find another way, or just hit and hope. And if he's not named, just change it to Bustlinger or someone if you need to. So it's going to be interesting. So let me just see if who's on field. Durden, Kernow. So he can't be on field, surely. Fullback, halfback. No. Walsh on wing, that's fine. Durden. All right, so Durden's an option people are looking at. So it's pretty much Carroll, Akers, White, Hollands, Lord, Man, Cowan, Doherty, that's a tough bench, man. Like, yeah, I don't know if I want to be on that extended bench. I know they dropped Doherty, but they need to win games against Geelong. They might want a more mature body against some bigger midfielders. That'll be interesting. Lord's done nothing wrong. Cowan's back into the mix. Lewis Young will be out, it seems like. White, he played quite well. Akers has been a little bit out of form, but still, again, an experienced body. So I'm really interested to see what they do with that team. Jai Clarkson, nothing really crazy here except for the fact that Nevitt's on the bench and Jai Clark is probably on the bench. Otherwise, Ollie Henry, Duncan hasn't played yet anyway. Mark O'Connor has in and out. So has Mullen. And Closey as well has been the same, or he was dropped and then came in late. So, yeah, like I think Nevitt's probably safe in that mix. And Nash out, Tim Kelly out. Now, here's the big question. This is the issue. All right, who's in the midfield for West Coast? Following Flynn, Duggan, Hutchinson. Why'd you have to put Duggan in there? Make it easy on us. Harley Reid in the midfield. That's not good. Marich McGovern, that's fine. Hunt, Cripps, no. Archer Reid, that's normal. All right, so again, interchange here. So Hewitt, Brockman, Ned Long, I don't think so. Gross, maybe, yes. Jack Williams, I think, has kind of been playing. Oh, what? No. Someone's probably already commented in here. No Hall. How do you leave Tim Kelly out? So I think Gross, however you say his name, I'm grossed out. He then will probably play. He was sub last week. If Kelly's out, he gets a full run. Hall's not even named, so that sucks. I thought I'd be lucky, and that's probably where it's at. So you'll have Elijah Hewitt, Gross in. I like Ned Long, Noah Long. I don't know if that'll be him though. Jack Williams will probably be a yes. Dwyer seems to be going quite well, or a Long maybe as one of the subs, and I imagine Gross will be on field. So that sucks. Man. Huswaite. Here we go. Is Hussey straight in the midfield or is he on the bench? Huswaite. Extended interchange. I hope Huswaite. He's been getting like 30 touches or more, like big disposals in VFL. He's very much a like for Nash, a very tall midfielder, contested beast. I'm hoping he gets a game. So they're not going to name a debut. He's already played before. So I'm hoping, and he's very cheap. So I'm hoping that does eventuate. On the interchange. So Scrimshaw, Bailey McDonald. So Connor McDonald will play. Bailey, maybe not so much. Ward, Bruce. Bruce could be a sub. Giath, Huswaite, Finn McGuinness, Jack Ginnivan. I don't know if they're going to play Jack Ginnivan or McGuinness. I think it'll be Huswaite, Giath, Scrimshaw, maybe Ward. That's two mids, two defenders. Bruce's sub, maybe. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Let me know what you think. And that sucks. That's really taken some wind out of my sails. So, all right, let's check out these comments quickly because I do have to get the kids bathed and put them into bed. So they're just watching a little TV time for a quick bit while I get into this stream for 30 minutes. Oh man, so I don't like the whole Carroll situation. Doherty, Boyd, McKay, Pitney, all to come back in, and the Camporelli boys, yeah, exactly. And Campos, they'll be easily coming in there as well. So that was. Let me go back on the stream to my team now. Let me just share this tab instead. Man, got lucky with VC. So I haven't done my trades yet. El Howley dropped. Sardis had like 30 possessions and 15 clearances. Yeah, but I think Setterfield's killing him, to be honest. Carroll, man. I don't know. Yeah, if Carroll's not named, I think you probably just have to pivot. There's still no Allen. You could go Tunstall, but I think he'll probably be sub based off that lineup. Might just have to hit and hope. The other option is you just kind of sit on your hands with the defenders and maybe move a Reed or someone else in another line, and if you needed to, and then switch back. So it is something that you could look to do. And Stanley looks like he's still ruck though, is he? So he is. So man, that's not as good. Although they kind of mix up their rucks a little bit more at Geelong, so it'll be interesting. So I'm not sure what they're going to do with that. So I don't know about trade outs though at the moment. So Wiedering being a laid out has had a sore knee. Yeah, but that's another big defender. I mean, who are they going to put there? I don't know if they're going to go an extra small. And Houdini, mate, there is a world where you don't trade this week. That is very true. So for my team, there is a world where I just trade Reed. And it sounds silly to trade Reed, right? But so I think if if Zach Reed, if he doesn't do that well, right, I can't really trust him on field that much, except it's kind of a hit and hope when he is on field, right? I think Trainer is an on field type and is more consistent with the role he's playing. Now, the issue is, right, Zach Reed does have a low break even. So if I can get back out of this, he does have a fairly low break even, and it's 14, right? So even if he goes like 60, he could make 25K. So I am inclined to kind of keep him if I can. My big dilemma is Ashcroft to Dacos, because if I did, I'd probably have to go because there was a world where I might even go. So this is one situation I am looking at, and I don't mind it. Like, I'm cutting a couple people early, and I get that, right? But then it does actually free up some cash in another week as well. If I did go, say, Reed, um, so both Reeds. So pretty much I just cull the Reeds. Man, Hall's not named. That sucks, eh? That really sucks. And he has a low break even too, -9. I mean, how much money did he make? 160. What is he? 187. He probably comes back in at some point, right? But he could be sub. It could suck. It won't even let me add let me just go. I'm going to put in a boost here. So there is a world where I think Lindsay will go well tonight, to be honest. I don't mind even looping Lindsay against, I think of Richmond. I think he could go 70, 80s, to be honest. I think they'll use him quite well. With May coming back in, I think he won't have to be as defensively minded. So there is a world. I don't know if I want to use a boost here yet. And why won't it let me just max screen this? There we go. Boost. Give me a boost, mate. Oh, I've already got it there. Right. So why won't it let me trade out someone else? I'll just hit trade. That makes sense. And then like an Ashcroft or even like a Clary or something, right? So that's the dilemma. Clary should go well. I think Ashcroft has made cash though, so I wouldn't mind actually just dumping off that cash and then going with the whole Carroll situation. So I can fit in, I know I can fit in Carroll, I know I can fit in Finn, I can also fit in Dacos, right? But then Ashcroft to Dacos between here and the buys, including the round that they have, Dacos has his buy when it's best 18 and Ashcroft has a big ceiling. I don't know how much more I'm going to gain on that. Brace, Dacos will probably go up 50K, but then probably come back down to 600 anyway. So I could probably pick him up later. I do like the fact he's a VC and C option though. And I do like the fact that he is very, very, very heavily owned, right? So that's probably the big kicker on it as far as trying to minimize the damage. But again, I'm not too sure or certain about, let me just hit filter on Carroll, but I do know that I can go Carroll in. I know I can then flip Levi back into that point, put in Flynn. And I am keen to go with Flynn just because, again, I don't have huge faith, but that 140 in his cycle, it's the second round. So it means that it's going to stay in his cycle for longer. And we only need him for 2-3 weeks, right? He'll make 100 to 150K over 2-3 weeks. He did play well. So I think they might reward him for hopefully a couple games. I say hopefully. You cross your fingers. If it doesn't work out, you try and trade out as soon as possible and you call it a day. So there is risks involved in that. And Dacos would be the other one. So that is something that I'm definitely considering. But again, it's 3 trades to pretty much bring more risk, I think, on my for my D6, so D7, D8. I've already got a dead rookie, 1 in Patton, 1 in Hall. The rest of mine are pretty good. I have thought about actually getting rid of Moraes instead and, maybe trying to keep a Reed or someone like that as well, or even keep, sorry, I'm gonna have to go in a second, or even keep. Let me just see, keep maybe Reed, and then get rid of Moraes would be the one. So I am looking at that, and I could do that by 20,000. So that's probably what I could look at doing. Moraes, I think, is kind of stalled anyway. It then gives me Reed at least for another week. I can then loop in that, forward line or something as well and see, although it's quite strong, and go about it that way. So that's kind of what I'm thinking of. I don't know if I like Carroll, but sometimes you have to hit and hope. He's 99K, so at least it frees up max cash. If he plays this week, at least, you're going to get that, at least that one price rise, and see how we go. So, I mean, that's kind of what I'm looking at. I might even still get rid of Reed. I don't know. I don't know. And that's the honest truth of it. Yeah, well, Pan got picked, but he's on the extended bench like everyone for a Sunday game. So, we won't know until tomorrow with any of those Sunday guys until 5 o'clock. And the issue is that there's a 3:20 game tomorrow. So, or 4 o'clock, I think, usually, or 5 o'clock on a Friday. So, we're not going to know any of those Sunday teams, and Sydney is one of them. So, we're not going to know until that point. But that's pretty much where we are at, mate. I got to go. Bath time, bedtime, and try and get everyone down before the wife gets home after work and before the footy starts. So that's it. Let me know what you're thinking. I'm sorry I can't be much more help because I don't really know what I'm doing this week, but I do want to get points on field. So that's the part I'm looking at. I guess we'll see how Lindsay and Trainer go tonight. And if they go well, that probably might buy me a little bit of time. And I think there is every possible world where I just maybe trade out someone like a Reed for a Flynn and just sit on my hands for a week. And then that way I can look to maybe mature some rookies a little bit and use my boost for the next couple and hope that some rookies show up. But until then, if there's no rookies, find yourself a Flynn, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.